Well, good morning. This is quite the turnout. Thanks. Thank you. Please. I appreciate everybody coming this morning. I asked Kate to organise this town hall early in my, in my tenure as CEO, as a way of introducing myself in my new role to the broader organisation. All staff were invited to attend, and my plan going forward is to have these town hall meetings on a fairly regular basis to provide updates, etc. In addition, the meetings are being recorded, and the recording will be sent out to staff who are unable to make the meeting. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And I would just want to thank Tom Walker for his help in that side of things. And before proceeding with the content of the meeting, I just firstly want to recognise Wade and his contribution to Ongonada for the various initiatives that he's led over his 5-year tenure. The introduction of eSIMs, the change in the mandate of the CNSC, the addition of Hague Road as a complex care home, the expansion at Sunnyside Treatment Home, the relocation of APS and development of a day programme at Napanee, along with the organisational focus on supporting more medically and behaviourally complex people, are just some examples of the changes that have occurred during his watch. He leaves behind big shoes to fill, and I can only hope that during my tenure I can accomplish a fraction of what Wade has accomplished. So I just wanted to acknowledge, as I say, his contribution to the organisation off the hop. It's very much a privilege, and I am very excited to be the incoming CEO of Ongonada, an organisation that I have come to admire increasingly over the 9 years or so that I've worked here. I believe my appointment provides a degree of organisational continuity that I think will be helpful as we move forwards. I've met many of you in various circumstances over the course of these 9 years, but for those of you I haven't yet had a chance to meet, I think you'll find that I am open, that I am approachable, that I am honest, that I am fair, and that I am forthright. Ongonada plays an important role in the Kingston community and throughout South East Ontario by providing supports and services to some of the region's most vulnerable people. As employees, we have the privilege of providing these supports and services, a privilege that we take seriously and we fulfil to the best of our abilities. Ongonada has a long history of providing services to people with developmental disabilities, a history that has been guided over the years by the organisation's mission and its values of support, respect, and choices. And I've no doubt that everyone at some point or another throughout their employment at Ongonada will have seen these 3 words. But how often have we actually stopped and thought about them and what they mean in the context of our work? I want to take a few minutes to briefly focus on support, respect, and choices. The dictionary definition of the word support is to give assistance to give encouragement, to give comfort, to be actively interested in and concerned for the success of something or someone. The dictionary definition of respect includes a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, their qualities, or their achievements, or to have due regard for the feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions of others. The dictionary definition of choices includes an act of selecting or making a decision when faced with 2 or more possibilities and the right or ability to make such a decision, or such a selection rather. As we go through our day, I would encourage each of us to remember these 3 words and what they mean, and to ask ourselves, am I upholding these values as I provide supports to the individuals seeking our services? Not only that, but am I upholding these values when I deal with families, when I deal with partner agencies, when I deal with my co-workers, staff, and supervisors. These three words have long been the cornerstone of the organisation called Onguenara. Each one of us plays a vital part in ensuring that they continue to be such. Never underestimate what you do on a daily basis for the individuals we support, for their families, and for your co-workers. Support, respect, and choices are important and laudable values to be upheld as we move forward. And moving forward requires a team of people to lead the way. And there have, as many of you are aware, been some changes to this leadership team recently. So I'd like to take a couple of minutes and ask each of the current leadership team to introduce themselves and to outline their respective portfolios, just so that everybody in the organisation knows who's who and what their role is. So, I don't know, Karen, would you like to start? I think there's a microphone somewhere.
Good morning. My name is Karen Menzies, and I am the Chief Clinical and Planning Officer here at Onguenara. So what that translates into is that I am the senior leader for complex homes. The regional treatment homes, Sunnyside, Hague, and Gore Road. And I'm also responsible for all of the clinical services within the organization as well. So I'll run through my list. Hopefully I won't forget any. But that list would consist of pharmacy, psychological services, and CBS, intake, social work, person-centered planners, OT, PT, nutrition services, including the registered dietitian and the cafeteria, clinical community nurses, phlebotomy, and the new nurse educator position. In addition, I am also responsible for strategic planning, accreditation, and ethics. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette Denford, and I'm probably the newbie on the block. I am now the Chief Financial Officer. I am taking over from Tom Collard. I don't think I see Tom in the audience right now. Do I? No. Nope. But I do want to thank him very much in regards to, he's teaching me lots and lots of stuff. He's not gone. He's just not here today or right now. My portfolio is, of course, finance. But within finance, we have the finance, so that is accounts receivable, accounts payable, and payroll. We have purchasing, we have maintenance, and we also have radiology. So right now, you may see me, I am doing client cash and fixed asset audits. So this afternoon, I'm going into Sunnyside. And yesterday I was in McEwen and Baxter. So I'm really looking forward to being able to go into the homes, get to meet some of you, that kind of stuff. If you're ever looking for me, right now I am located in Martha's old office.
And Chris.
Hi, I had to start writing down what I do to try and remember it all. So, Christine Park, Chief Residential and Community Services Officer. That is quite a mouthful, so you can just call me Chris. The residential part is probably the biggest, so that's all the houses. It includes host family, it includes supported independent living. The community actually, in terms of numbers, is pretty massive as well in terms of the day program. So Balsam, Crescent, and ORC. The other stuff I do is kind of client care committee, some stuff with the board, things like that. I haven't been here that long, or I just passed probation 2 weeks ago, so. Thank you. My office is across from radiology, and I haven't got to meet as many people as I'd like to, and that certainly came up in my performance appraisal. But my door is always open, so if I haven't met you, please feel free to stop by.
Good on. Thank you. So on to other business and updates. Many people have been wondering what will happen to my former position. Working with the senior team, I'm going to be taking a bit of time to think through the leadership structure and the reporting relationships of the organisation, particularly in light of other personnel changes that have occurred or are occurring. So some of what you just heard from Chris and Karen and Jeanette could be subject to change over the next little while, but I really do want to take an opportunity to kind of take a step back and kind of see where we go from here organisationally. So that's one thing that we're going to be doing, the senior leadership team will be doing over the next little while. And on that note, and as Jeanette's just mentioned, we've just recruited Jeanette to the position of Chief Financial Officer. Jeanette's going to be replacing, as she mentioned, Tom Collard. Tom's going to continue in his current role with his current set of reports for the next few months to allow Jeanette the opportunity to familiarise herself with the financial reporting requirements of MCSS, which are interesting and challenging, and to understand our internal budget and financial reporting structures. Jeanette will at some point over the next few weeks establish the finance department's needs as it pertains to the replacement of Heather Harris's position and Kim Campbell's positions. So Jeanette and Tom are looking within the finance department basically to see what's needed there in a similar fashion to where I'm looking at the senior leadership team to see what's required there. And then along similar lines, with the recent departure of Louise Hunter, Karen is going to be looking at our nutrition services area over the next little while. So lots of changes precipitated by lots of departures, retirements, etc. But I think as an organisation, we afford it to ourselves to take a step back and see what our needs are organisationally. In keeping with the change theme, in addition to looking at the org structure, the senior leadership team will be reviewing organisational committees, their terms of reference and their memberships. So that's something else that's on the agenda that we want to take a look at over the next short while. And then further change is that you'll notice out here the former auxiliary gift shop. That's actually been converted into a meeting room, and it'll accommodate probably 8 to 10 staff. Where's Karen's slide? 8 to 10 staff, I think? 8. And the room, which we're going to be referring to as the auxiliary meeting room, can be booked through the central book, the room booking system. So that's another little change. The other thing is, as has been communicated previously, and many of you hopefully will have seen the information that was sent out through eSIMS, I think last week. The Ministry of Labour is conducting a series of focused visits to group homes, including those that support individuals with developmental disabilities. This is happening now simply because it's the turn of the DS sector. It's the turn of folks who operate group homes to be subject to a Ministry of Labour inspection. At this stage, we don't know if any of our homes will be visited. And if they are coming here, they probably will come to ORC first to kind of review the administrative components of that, make sure the policies are up to date, etc., before going to the homes. But they could come straight to the home. So just be aware that that might happen. They're looking to ensure that the organisation has appropriate policies in place and to ascertain whether or not staff and supervisors, etc., understand their responsibility under the Act. We all have responsibilities. I've got responsibilities. Managers, supervisors, and frontline staff all have responsibilities under the Act. So it's an opportunity to familiarise yourself with those. That was sent out in that communique that went out last week that kind of detailed some of those responsibilities. On an associated note, if upon, let me take a step back. So there, I lost my place. So yeah, they're looking at the internal responsibility system, and their focus is also on workplace violence, musculoskeletal injuries, and infection prevention, which I guess is apropos given what's been happening with coronavirus. And on that note, on coronavirus, we continue to be in close contact with and follow the lead of the health unit. We have a plan in place to ensure that mask fit testing for a particular cohort of staff is up to date, and in fact that was happening over the last couple of weeks. Peter Gould was doing a whole bunch of mask fit testing. And that's something that's done every 2 years for a cohort of staff that we've identified as being the staff that are potentially most at risk. These are staff that usually are mobile within the organisation. If upon the direction from the health unit there's a need to expand our mask fit testing, we'll be doing so. We've also been making sure that we've got adequate supplies of N95 masks on hand. Peter looked into that a couple of weeks ago, and as things stand, looks like we're in reasonably good shape should we have to increase our mask fit testing. And you'll have noticed also that there are notices on the doors, the main door in and the two side doors, as well as I believe at Balsam and Crescent, just to alert people to what to do if they're exhibiting some of the symptoms that are outlined on those notices. So that's something that we're keeping a close eye on, as is the rest of the world, I guess. Financially for this year, that's the year ending March 31st, 2020, we're in pretty good shape. Next year, however, things may be a bit more challenging. The government is looking for efficiencies and savings across the broader public sector, and as has been communicated in the press, the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services has retained the services of KPMG to provide Minister Smith, Todd Smith, who is the Minister responsible for developmental services, with a report on how to accomplish these within the MCSS portfolio. Thus far, details are scant, but I think we can expect that there to be no new money next fiscal year, and there may be the possibility that we will have to find some savings. But at this point in time, we don't know. We don't have anything confirmed from the ministry. As soon as we do, then obviously we'll take that under advisement and decide how to proceed from there. So, but that said, given this, I would encourage everybody to be mindful of how money is being spent and to look for saving opportunities where they exist. Vision 2020, Ongwenada's current strategic plan, which was created in 2015 when Wade assumed the position of CEO, is nearing completion. And we're going to be laying the groundwork for a new strategic plan over the course of the next few months. The development of this plan will involve leaders and staff from across the organisation, persons served and their families, community partners, and of course the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. We will, as in the past, be engaging the services of a consultant to help us with this initiative, working closely with the senior leadership team and the board. And also, finally, as each of you is aware, we're busy preparing for our accreditation visit on December the 7th through December the 10th, 2020. Our accreditation committee, under the leadership of Karen Menzies, has been busy preparing for the surveyor's visits. And before I hand over to Karen to give us an accreditation update, I want to end by recognising the fact that staffing has been particularly challenging over the past few weeks and months, particularly in residential services. Flu outbreaks, other illnesses have contributed to staff being stuck in the homes at the end of their shift. And other staff are working many, many hours. Now, nursing residence at Barclay has been a particularly challenging to staff and is a good example of these challenges. I just want to recognise the efforts of all staff who have gone above and beyond to help us through this challenging time, and to assure everyone that HR is working hard to attract, recruit and train new staff. We're also working alongside our union partners to identify factors contributing to this situation and to identify possible solutions. So I just want to end on that note and extend a note of appreciation to those staff who have really gone, as I say, above and beyond to help us out. It's challenging. The challenges are not peculiar, shall we say, to Onguenara. Many other developmental service agencies are finding themselves in a similar situation. So we just have to figure out a creative way to address that problem. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Karen, and Karen's going to give us a bit of an update on accreditation. So Karen, over to you.
Okay, so in terms of accreditation, before I provide a very brief update, I just wanted to talk about accreditation just in general, in terms of who are we accredited by, why do we participate in accreditation, and what it is. So Accreditation Canada is our accreditation body. And accreditation really is about bringing in a third party who evaluates the services that you provide as an organization. Sorry, I'm going to move this around. Compares the standards of your organization in relation to national and international standards. And so it's a process of evaluation, and the reason we participate in the process is, if you think about it, if you were someone that we support or their family, if you're looking for services, especially since a lot of the funding that we're now seeing in our sector are individualized, one of the things you would be looking for is a certain standard of service. So there's a real benefit for families or individuals looking for services that the agency is accredited. Similarly, in terms of our ministry or other provincial funding, when there's calls, when there is a call for proposal or an expression of interest, they're often looking at funding agencies, and one of the criteria is that you are an accredited agency, because once again, that's sending a message that there's a certain standard that you operate in. So that's the benefit, and that's the reason we go through this process every 4 years. Now, in terms of the update, first of all, I want to thank everyone. I know there have been a number of surveys going out, and staff have been great in terms of responding. There is one more yet to come, so I would encourage you to complete it. And part of this process is really about collecting information so that we can develop action plans in terms of preparing for the site visit in December. The Accreditation Committee has been very busy. We're reviewing all of the standards and looking at feedback from staff. We're looking at processes and policies, and we are in the process of developing action plans to address what's missing. In terms of the accreditation site visit itself, we will be providing training for staff prior to the visit. And what you need to keep in mind in terms of accreditation is that surveyors are asking you questions about what you do on a daily basis, which you all know, but they're also looking at continuity, that what they hear from frontline staff is the same thing that they're going to hear from a board member and right up through that line. So there's going to be lots of activity over the next several months. If you have any questions or concerns at any point, please feel free to drop by, and I would be more than happy to chat with you. Thank you.
So, that's the first town hall meeting. Any questions? As I say, the hope is that we will have regular meetings of a similar nature where folks will be invited to attend. And yeah, support, respect choices. Onwards and upwards. Thank you very much.